Am I recording it? Okay, now let's start this stupid thing. Howdy. Do you remember the good old days of World of Warcraft? The theme music when you logged in for that first time. The first completion of a epic raid. Pepperidge Farms remembers. Or maybe that first glorious trip to the Goldshire and learning what Bukake was at the age of 12. Or the first real feeling when you were called every racist name ever written. Pepperidge Farms remembers. What it was like, what a little tongue-in-cheek humor was actually funny and not an employee forcing their tongue into someone's cheek. When Bill Cosby was a beloved icon, not a creepy room at BlizzCon women avoided. Pepperidge Farms remembers. We remember everything at Pepperidge Farms. And I do mean everything. So buy one of our delicious cookies. Or else.
This is Crashed While Loading, the fusion of entertainment and information.
Hello there.
Weekly updates and opinions on video games,
You were almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right.
movies,
I'm about to do to you what Limp Bizkit did to music in the late 90s.
TV shows,
This is the way.
This is the way.
and so much more.
TJ, what do you want to do tonight?
Off. We need to go on a quick adventure.
Oh, hello the interwebs, and welcome to the 49th episode of Crash While Loading. I'll be your host, Ashton Phoenix. Joining me today is, of course, Sean Connery, doing the voice of Sean Connery. Anyway, no. Welcome to Crash While Loading, 49th episode, the only podcast openly powered by adult ADHD. I am your host, Ashton Phoenix, and remember, you too can listen live over at twitch.tv/crashwhilloading. Follow, subscribe, maybe put it on your bookmark page. Or I personally, if I was you, just so you don't forget it, I would make it your homepage. That's honestly the only way to go about remembering that the show exists at all. So that way you never miss an episode when they happen, which is semi-regularly. And also one episode away from 50, and I have big news planned for that. I have still no idea if I'm going to do anything special or not. It's just going to be an episode with a 5 and a 0, and it's halfway to 100. I mean, there may be a guest that used to be on the show that I live with and have been married to for over 10 years. But, I'm not putting that out there as any way of trying to get other people that are tired of me that maybe they'd come back and listen if someone else was on the show. That kind of thing there. So yeah, yeah. So anyway, I had a random thought. Does anybody else? We had spaghetti this week, which, by the way, delicious. But I also realized that I have a problem with spaghetti, and that is that while I enjoy spaghetti, I have noticed that I seem to use it more as a Parmesan delivery system than just eating spaghetti. Like a dumb amount of Parmesan. Like, I can eat spaghetti all by itself, but it's not as enjoyable as, like, putting Parmesan on it and then mixing it in and then realizing that I've diluted the Parmesan into it now. So I have to put more Parmesan on it and just eat that straight, like, piled on top of the spaghetti. And it just basically turns from spaghetti into a straight Parmesan delivery service as a vehicle. It's all the spaghetti is used for. It's kind of like how chips are delicious, but really, when you do plain potato chips, they're just a dip delivery system. You don't actually eat just like, how many people just eat regular plain Ruffles potato chips without a dip of some kind. I mean, like Fritos. Fritos are like that. It's good for bean dip or cheese dip or chili cheese. Again, same thing. It's a delivery system. Can you eat it by itself? Yes. And is it good? Yes. Is it better as a delivery system for other stuff that are make it even better? Yeah. That's what, I don't know. Maybe I'm alone. I just use a lot of Parmesan, probably an unhealthy amount of Parmesan, and it's not getting cheaper. So I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I had a random thought, and I thought I'd share it and see if anybody else eats too much Parmesan. So yeah, there's that. But also, this is a podcast about movies and games about movies, the stuff, things. I'm tired. We had a long day. We didn't actually have a long day. It wasn't a bad day. We had our grandson, which is always great, who put away approximately 2/3 of the potato of Idaho from a plate, and he's a little guy. Finished out looking like one of those Ethiopian kids, except the reverse because he ate, which is probably a mean thing to say, but he's my grandson and I'm grandfather, so we feed them until they explode. It's what was done to me, and I have the portliness to prove it. So anyway, yeah, and then we had a birthday party for my nephew, and that was a lot of fun, but it was at a gymnasium, which required a lot of running and walking and romping, and again, old. It's tiring. But I'm still here for you because somebody has to, and I'm the only one here, so that's literally, there's no other option. But what have I been doing? So I'm still playing Tales of Arise. And it is honestly just getting better and better. It's had a lot of neat little twists and turns. The one I got last night, it was like 1 a.m. already, or 2, I think. I wouldn't go to bed until 2:30. I think it was 2. And it got to it, and I was like, God damn it. It was such a good twist, but I had to stop playing at that point because I was getting to the point where I won't remember if I keep playing. You ever get playing a game where you're like, I'm having so much fun, and then you like push through the tiredness, and then you wake up, you finally go to bed like 3 hours after you should have stopped already. You wake up the next morning and you realize, man, that was great. Yeah, I've kind of blacked out on everything that happened. I just know that it was really good, and you kind of piece it together when you start playing again. You're like, oh yeah, that's right, yeah. So-and-so, was Revan the entire time. Whatever. It's just, yeah, I don't know. But it's really good. I'm really enjoying it. If you like JRPGs, man, you got to pick it up. So in other news, I've talked about how Call of Duty Warzone doesn't work for me half the time. It worked for an entire day. I got to play Warzone for one whole day, and then I had to restart my computer. And then it stopped working again. Typical. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, that was... by the way, I still suck at it. I like to say I'm usually in the top 30 of the first teams to be killed off out of 60. Usually it's within like the top 50. Yeah, I'm not good. I'm bad. I'm very bad. But it is what it is. We also watched... we had a movie night last night with Sib and I and some friends. We came over. And we watched the OG Halloween from 1978. And while we enjoyed it, and I don't think I've ever actually seen it from start to finish until now, at least not on something like TBS where they cut out everything. Because I've seen parts, and I remember parts, but there were definitely things that I didn't remember. Also, it's from 1978, so we relentlessly mocked it constantly. The dialogue is just so bad and so cheesy. And Sib didn't think so, but I thought so. Jamie Lee Curtis and all the quote-unquote teenage high school kids look like they're in their 20s. I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis, she's very pretty. She's still pretty to this day, and she's like 60. But she didn't look like a 16, 17, 18-year-old to me. She looked like a grown woman person, a young grown woman person, but she sure didn't look like a teenager. But also the horrible, like, the dialogue for the doctor is like, we kind of get it. He's evil. I mean, you showed him as a little kid stabbing, his sister and boyfriend, or the sister anyway, and then just like, you don't have to keep talking about how evil and how he's got, cold dead eyes, like a doll's eyes, like he's Jaws. It was so, it's good. I mean, it's classic, but most movies from 1978 don't hold up well. Except your 79 apparently was the year because that's when Star Wars came out, and that one held up really, really well, and is still amazing to this very day. Speaking of Star Wars, we've watched some of the Star Wars Visions, which is all the anime. They're like shorts. They're like 15, 20 minutes long. The very first one was fantastic. Was the black and white. It was the duel. There's the one with the like Shogun and black and white. Looked like a manga comic. I'll give more of a full review hopefully next week when I've seen them all or when we ever get around to it. But I have to say, one thing I'm not liking so far is every single one of them leads into the Jedi or the Sith. Like every one of them. Like even Tatooine Rhapsody, which is largely song based, like the kid's a former Jedi for no reason at all. But like there's so much more in Star Wars than just the Jedi, and they've so far all leaned heavy into the Jedi and Sith mythos, and that's, I mean, it's fine, but again, the lightsaber stuff and some of the things they've done since it's anime are pretty cool. But it is not it's not as original as I was kind of hoping for. Maybe I had my expectations too high for some of these studios. I mean, the animation looks great, contrary to what I've seen some people say, but I don't know. It's honestly not hitting the chords I was hoping it would. It's not like exciting. It's just kind of, that's a thing that exists. It's not canon, so it doesn't really matter. Some of them would be neat if they were, maybe, but most of them aren't, and it's kind of, I don't know. I was a lot more excited for it than it ended up being. And my expectations for most things Star Wars are fairly low outside of Dave Filoni stuff, like the Book of Boba Fett coming up in, was it December, I think, is coming out? It was before the end of the year, November, December. But, yeah, and then I finished the latest What If Thor was an only child. That one was actually really funny. It was really good. Thor turned out to be a total Chad without his brother Loki there to keep him guessing and in line and always doing stuff. He turned out to be just a party boy frat house person, and it was really funny. It was a great episode. The whole, he just basically comes to Earth so that because it's going to be the party planet, and just instead of like an alien invasion of epic proportions like the Chitauri or something like that, it's just everybody just starts partying around the globe, and he's just everywhere. And they also managed to make Captain Marvel cool in this, unlike in the movies where she's just kind of she's still a stick in the mud in this, but at least she's got some personality. I didn't see if it was actually voiced by Brie Larson, though, because if it was, she did a good job. She should go to voice acting. But if it wasn't, then it kind of fills in. I could look it up, but honestly, I don't care enough to do that. Yeah, it's not that kind of show. Accuracy is important, but it's, I don't know. I've kind of like the mainstream media. It's not really that important. I mean, it's good to do every now and then, accuracy, but, for the most part, CBS, Fox News, NBC, CNN, I mean, it's hard being accurate all the time. It's so much work, and, like, you gotta look up stuff and verify things, and, like, Google searches, and who's got time for all that? I know I don't. So, with that, let's go on to the news. Got quite a bit here. Nintendo's Direct was this week, so we've got a lot of stuff, including Chris Pratt being Mario, which is super. I so try. I know. My intro again was beating on World of Warcraft and Blizzard this week, but I had a complete brain block on anything funny. Which is why you got what you got. A reused thing from an old commercial from the 80s and 90s and a reused thing from Family Guy. I get it. I know where it come from. But I had nothing else. It's the only thing I could think of off the top of my head after like 30 minutes of sitting here staring at the computer going, Duh! So I tried to something with Chris Pratt and Yoshi is like a movie, and nothing was coming to me. It was all hot garbage. Like during my week, I can think of all sorts of funny things to write about. And you know what I don't do? Write those things down because I'm an idiot. And I'm like, duh, I'll remember them later. Duh, duh. And I don't because I'm stupid. And that's just the way it goes. I know I'm not the only one. It's like, I'll remember that later. Everybody that's ever been to a grocery store knows that that's a bullshit lie. You get in there, you're looking at the cucumbers, and you're like, maybe it was cucumbers. And it turns out it was toilet paper. I mean, you're wiping your butt with newspaper when you get home. That's just the way it is. I don't know. That's just how it is. So. All right. So anyway, moving on to the news. I got sidetracked there. My favorite party, of course, is the Chinese Communist Party. Because ain't no party like a Chinese party. The Chinese Communist Party don't lie. Yeah, that's just the way that goes. I know. I sang that fantastically, and you are welcome. Also, you ice the eardrums, and the swelling will go down. So the Communist Party of China, also known as China, or the Chinese Communist Party of China, is banning cryptocurrency. I mean, they've already had they've kind of had official ban on it since 2019, but you were still able to exchange it through foreign exchanges and things like that outside of the country. But now the CCP took a step further, and the People's Bank of China, which is a Chinese-owned bank, today announced that all cryptocurrency... You know what's coming.
Don't nobody understand the words that are coming out of your mouth, man.
Yeah, I know. But all cryptocurrency transactions are now illegal, which means all the Chinese Bitcoin farmers are, as far as I know, they'd be shit out of luck. So according to this, it says here, virtual currency-related business activities are illegal, financial activities, and seriously endangers the safety of the people's assets. It's always for the people. It's not because it takes control away from the Communist Party and gives it to the people. It's because it's a safety for the people. That's always a good way to put it. So why? This seems political news. Yeah, you know how all that stuff is mined, right? All those graphics cards that we can't get hold of and are 3 times the MSRP that they should be. Maybe we can have a chance now, because they won't be able to do this and sell it inside the country. According to this, Cambridge University's Bitcoin Electricity Consumption Index estimated that in April of 2021, earlier this year, a couple months back, China was responsible for 46.04, very specific for an estimate. I estimate that it's a 46.748925138769 point chance. I don't know. 46.04 chance that the global they were of global Bitcoin production. Not as big as it once was, I guess, but still, like, one country was doing 46% of the global Bitcoin production. Kind of significant. So that's where all these graphics card, and it's also, if you're, I guess, since I didn't have this planned on here, but I read too, if you're buying used graphics cards, don't. If you're buying graphics cards at all, be careful where you buy them from. Like, get them from Newegg or Amazon, somewhere you know that it's coming from here in the U.S., because they are apparently using all these graphics cards that have gone for thousands of hours running at high capacity farming Bitcoin, boxing them up and selling them as if they're brand new. And will they work? Yes, they will work for a very short period of time because their lifespan is nearly at an end. And you will not be able to get that back. There's no way you're going to get them to be like, oh, well, they'll just send you another one. That's not going to happen. So, yeah, cryptocurrencies are what they are. You'll like them or hate them or whatever. I don't have any. I am a fan, however. But they are a gamble. But seriously, hopefully this means that we can start getting, the 2000 and 3000 series of the NVIDIAs and whatever the AMD ones. I have nothing against AMD. They work perfectly fine. I know how the NVIDIA ecosystem works, so I stick with what I know. I'm old like that because Pepperidge Farms remembers. That's just the way it is. So that's why I stick with it. Yeah, but it would be nice to be able to go to Newegg and just be like, yes, I have a $500. I would like a graphics card, please, instead of what it is right now, where I have to have a $1,500, and I would like a graphics card, please. It's just like 2 or 3 times what they're supposed to be selling for. A lot of them, even at legitimate places, they're above the actual price of what they should be. So kind of sucks because I'm on a 1070 and it's starting to struggle. I told you on Vanguard it was all at medium settings. I don't like playing my computer games at medium settings. That's what an Xbox is for. Ah ha ha ha. No, I got a Series X. Plays it high. So, but yeah, we'll see. Moving on to wait, am I gonna do that one right now? No, we'll move on to this one first. So it was announced today too, or not today, but earlier this week, that Quantic Dream was developed. They're the guys that did Heavy Rain and Detroit Become Human. They're the ones that are, they're very story driven and quick time eventy, like. And they also have branching stories, like your decisions matter. If you do the quick time event right, it changes the story. Their games have multiple playthroughs. But apparently they're rumored to be making a Star Wars game. And I was kind of for this until I was listening to, I think of all things, one of the IGN podcasts, and they were kind of talking about it. And they actually kind of turned me around on it because it made me stop and remember I played Heavy Rain, and I thought it was good, but I didn't finish it, and it started getting boring. It got boring very quickly, and that's why I wanted to try Detroit Become Human. And it looked very boring. So, and I enjoyed like the Telltale games of like The Walking Dead and Wolf Among Us. I don't mind story or even the walking simulator, Fire